Alright, we're back on stream. Sorry about that. We may have missed Blue getting mauled a bit, but I'm certain that nobody wants to watch a half-broken stream. Yes, the Lin has been ruined and South Alpha is next, as Red Team is continuing their crazy charge.
Their patience paid off there as Lin stepped too far out and quickly was annihilated. And that is game one.
Indeed.
Red Team victorious.
Oh, also, chat, please tell me if the stream is alright finally, because I can't tell that easily. Well, at least OBS has stopped screaming at me for issues. So, I hope it's alright.
This is why we can't have nice things, Dan.
Well, I decide to change some settings, and of course everything goes wrong. After this, I'll have to stitch together the both videos into one as well, that I've been recording currently. And that was the first match, a 5-2 in favor of the other red team. Well, there's only one red team currently. And they're on that red team, so interesting. Watching back the stream preview, it seems everything is alright, so that's good.
Alright, so we're back, and after a showing display of some angry Pyramidians, we'll see how the now red team can adapt, or the Ducks, I guess, in this case.
Indeed, it'll be intriguing. And it is time for map 2 and match 2 of 5. We are on Clash at Blackcliff. And it is time to begin the map votes. It's only been 20 minutes and an entire match has already passed.
2, technically, if you think about it before the stream.
We don't talk about that one.
What match? I didn't say anything.
And so the timer is on the clock. Both teams have swapped sides. One team's voting for Kinforth, interesting. The other is not replying. Are they stalling out the timer? Well, time's up.
That fire seems ready to go, so it is what it is, I suppose.
And so it is Kinforth. So it seems Red Team has now decided to take a Pyramidion of their own and the Stormbreaker, whereas Blue Team is still sticking with their double Pyramidions.
Well, Zen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Although it looks like we might have even more blood than before, as Red is looking to meet them head-on in the close tactics fighting.
Oh, a change. Blue Team's now changing to Aspire. Well, perhaps this is the situation where that double Pyramidion strategy may not actually completely work out. Of course, if they were to try that again, The best way for red team to destroy double pyramidions is a bit of squid. Squids are agile and can get behind those pyramidions really quickly. And then those things,
with
all
those
they can do
one-sided guns.
is just try to turn. And fail miserably at that. However, Squid is a bit of a difficult ship to pilot, and it takes fast-paced thinking. And here we have a Corsair. Now, if it's the Corsair... Oh, it isn't the Corsair I was thinking of. Still, it's a Corsair.
Switching to a long range on the front and then going for blood on the sides.
The Lumberjack is more meant as a sort of a approachment gun, in that it pops the enemy as you're approaching the target and then hammer them with the sides.
It's got the armor, it's got the speed, it's got one heck of a tanky hull and a large balloon. But these ships are fast and hit hard as well, so it should be able to just steamroll them.
Well, the trick about interesting thing about armors is that the less health an armor has, the easier it is to rebuild. So for instance, a Squid's armor is a couple of hits, whereas a Corsair Galleon, well, it takes a dozen hits at least.
Which makes it all the more vital to capitalize when you do bring down that hull, to try to get as much damage as possible while they're frantically trying to bring it back up. That's also time while they're repairing that they're not spending shooting back, so that gives you more time to maneuver.
Indeed. As the saying goes, the first one to take the shot wins. Or can't shot first. Was that appropriate? Most likely not.
In theory.
But yes, it is commonly considered that the first one to get off the gun is the first one to have lost the engagement. And so ships are locked. It is a Pyramidion Stormbreaker versus a Pyramidion Corsair.
I'm excited to see how these Pyramidions will fare, as they are running the exact same builds, which we'll introduce once we're in the game proper. So it'll be down not only to the skill of the individual pilots and engineers, but how well they can coordinate with their teams.
I should not have used the team color as name, because the blue team has the team named the other red team.
So we have the red team versus the other red team. I don't know, Zen. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it sure beats naming their ships after other ship names anyway. We're loading into game 2 of our 5-game series here. Crucible.
Remember to sign up for next week, everyone. And we are in. It is time for the timer.
And yes, sign up. Then you too can have your team names horribly butchered by Zen and I. As we are in, and I will introduce Team Red, starting with Saladrim on his Saldra, running that Echidna flat cannon flare gun on the sides with a Artemis and a Gatling up front there, with our Yin being piloted by Hellfire. It's a Stormbreaker running a Carronade Gatling gun, rocket carousel, and another rocket carousel up against the blue team.
Yes, the blue team is ship number 3, just good business, piloted by Tier Fuel. It is the Flying Brick, the Corsair with a front lumberjack, side watches and gatlings with a back harpoon. I want to see that in action. And ship number 4, the Dancing Together, piloted by Alpha Sierra. It is the same old Artling with the Artemis and Gatling up front, and the side flak and flare.
So again, I'm very curious to see which Pyramidion will make better use of its teammate, as we are seeing a ditto match here. 2 Pyramidions, the exact same builds. It'll be down to individual crewing and who can better maneuver or just tank in the case of a good business here.
Indeed.
Coming up on our first engagement.
Currently,
Trying to put that lumberjack.
yes, they got one good shot into the Saldera, but with a lumberjack, one shot is never truly enough.
So Zen, with the 2 Pyramidions running the same builds here, who do you think has the better supporting ship? We have the large business and then the speedy Stormbreaker over there. What is that Stormbreaker going to be looking to do? Is he going to want to get in fast using hit and run, or is Red Team going to need to fully commit to an engagement to do anything?
Most likely a full commitment, but I don't know how they're going to commit. I have a feeling that the Yin will attempt to face off against the Dancing Together, whilst the Saldar tries to keep the just good business at least distracted. But I have to say, this is interesting as Red Team is splitting up a lot.
Yes, and business did go a little low there. He didn't carry any balloon with him, so if the Stormbreaker can get above him, he should be able to stay effectively above him the whole time. But yes, we are seeing Red going for some wide flanks here, but there's not really any flanking angles here. Blue has found themselves a nice little place.
And here comes the Yin.
Quickly, business is being met. He is stopping Saldera from getting even close as Yin goes low, not staying out of the range of the business at all.
No, I may have gotten it wrong. The Yin is supposed to deal with the just good business, as that Carronade will help them a lot in that situation. But they can also fight the Pyramidion if need be, and as we see currently.
Balloon. No, Dancing's balloon has just gone down. They're sinking down. Yin's being able to outmaneuver here. Sadara finally joining the fight. Was being kept at bay by business, but is now in the heat here. It looks like they're having trouble picking targets, though.
And the Yin ate a Watcher and lost an engine. I think that is going to be bad damage to the Yin.
Now, like you were saying earlier, however, they are able to get that hull back online quickly because of its thin armor, saving them from what would have been a lethal shot from Dancing.
You'd be surprised, but the Stormbreaker and Squid have really similar armor and hull values. That thing is fragile. Make no mistake.
As somebody who has moonshined into a building once too many times, I can agree.
Dancing Together has lost half its perma as well. And yes, the Just Good Business has lost a bit of its perma as well.
Squaring up 1v1, it's a case of whose Pyrrha can better fight the 1v1, and that's it for Dancing. It's going to be soon to follow for the Corsair as well. He doesn't have any position here. It's not a kill
ship. This Corsair will go down, though I would have hoped it would try to ram something before its demise, but you can't do much with a pop balloon.
As they are run into the ground. That is a turnaround for our red team, as they are now finding a strategy that seems to be working for them a little better than just getting run down by Pyrrhas in the last game.
Well, indeed, but the last match started well for the current red team, and, well, turned quickly on its back and fell apart.
Yes, Blue was able to, well, what was the red team, now the other red team, Blue team, was able to adapt last time. Let's see if we can turn this around again with their...
Blue team has respawned. The Yin going in the complete wrong direction. Someone should take a look at the maps. There's some good maps available at statsvicarous.xyz.
Blue electing to hold down that same wide open area. They don't want to fight in this industrial complex with all the corners and area for cover that the Yin and Saldera can make use of.
Indeed.
Electing to take their long-range shots out of the middle of the open here.
Due to the Just Goods businesses, Lumberjack, they can make use of long range a bit better than our favorite red team.
Now they're taking a angle approach here so that they can't get grouped up on. This risks having them split again, as both are charging, dancing together. Yin getting put down, Business not even in the fight yet.
And here comes the ram.
There's our first ram, half a balloon gone from the Saldera.
A bit of a sporadic ram as the dancing together now almost gone, but the Yin dies first. Yeah, that's what happens.
Saldera now going to try to run for his life, but that's a hold down. I don't think he's going to make it after this alive. That's going to be a 2
That
for
is
2.
not going to be an escape. No engines. No engines at all.
And Business now for a full flank. Those watches are looking right at him. He's
And
gone.
Goodbye. And now we are almost having a repeat of last match.
Yes, as Blues maneuvering, they're positioning, and perhaps Red's targeting as they chose to focus one ship, leaving the angles wide open for Blue, led to their demise. With an even match here, first to 5 again, so 3 kills. We can see who can take out another engagement here.
Of note should be that we currently only have one viewer, and I know who said viewer is.
We love you, said viewer.
Indeed, and now currently it seems like both blue teams are going to do the ring around Rosie strategy.
Interesting to see that Blue is electing to move from their wide open position, where they can take those wide angles.
Yeah, that is
Red
interesting.
heading back, expecting them to be there. This might be a big brain play from Blue, as they might be able to get the drop on Red, who's heading right back.
You can't really get the drop on anyone if you don't know where they are, but luckily they know where they are now.
Yes, dancing has been spotted.
But Just Good Business hasn't been spotted, and neither has Yin. Both teams can do a little bit of ambushing. And also notes that dancing together is almost gone. If Red just focuses on that, they're most likely going to succeed.
Yes, as Yin sees the dancing, sees it's low, putting on that moonshine, coming in for a quick kill. That might be a good bait if dancing can get out and repair quick enough for Business to come in and do some damage.
Saldera is closing the distance whilst the Yin is performing a bit of a distraction. And the Yin now comes in. That's your ally. You don't ram your ally. Saldera now deciding to ram the
Failure
Corsair.
to maneuver properly has left dancing about to be hold
And that's another ally ram. Yeah. The old saying goes, stick close and for map. Yes, it's true, but don't stick it that close. You'll just fall apart.
We saw their first kill as they had been too easily grouped up together and then was split apart. The second kill went to Blue when they were separated and able to get a good flank. This time they were stuck right on top of each other, and that failure to maneuver properly just left them wasted.
Just Good Business attempting to flee, it won't escape.
But after all, it is just good business.
Oh, yeah. Though, he actually, I think, saw this one coming.
A little bit slow on the wheel there.
Well, yeah, for the future, don't ram your ally. It hurts you more than it hurts the enemy.
It's at times like this where I wish we could tap into the other team's captain speak and hear what words are going down.
Well, I could do that, but I'm not going to, as that would be completely and utterly disruptive and rude.
Alright, 1 kill away for red. If they can make a blitz on the dancing, they might be able to quickly secure this
Not
victory.
specifically on dancing. Any old ship works, but the dancing is the easier target of the two.
Once the business is down, it can't really move where, but it does have a nice chunk of health that they gotta pick through.
The inn is
first.
flanking, unspotted. But blue team is most likely aware that the inn is near, and just good business attempting to come around the Saldera.
They do have a good angle here. I'm liking position, poised to come in.
Yin
for a hot
comes
kill here.
in, and there goes, almost goes the balloon. Someone missed its carronade.
And it looks like they are committing now. Yin is putting on the heavy gun. They're now turning, getting ready to focus fire. Is it going to be the good business, or are they... Yes, they're coming in for the business.
But the dancing
try to
together
put
is
him in the
chasing
ground
hard,
quickly.
and that was almost the pipe.
Business going low. Doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver.
I think what's going on is that the inn is attempting to keep the good business out of combat for as long as possible, whilst the Saldera attempts to clean up the dancing together. Currently,
Yes,
it is
the
somewhat
dancing-
working, but the
Putting
Saldera has
some
lost
good
its
damage on the
balloon.
Yin,
And
but not
then
enough, as Yin is now putting business in the ground. They've got the balloon down. He's got him on the hold.
Blue
Business
is
not gonna
currently
be able to
winning
do
both
anything
in
to get Yin off
no. Saldera is currently losing, but Yin is beating the good business. So it's currently a damage rush at this point. See which side wins first. But the dancing together
Red
is not
has the
looking
point.
good.
Advantage as well.
And the
I
good
think
business
that's-
gets annihilated. It once again is 5-2 in favor of the red team.
Able to adapt, but not
Yes.
adapt quick enough.
A good return.
Red team brings it back. Now putting both our teams at 1 victory each.
At the exact same score. Firecrackers and the other red team have the same points. We on the stream did not see that harpoon. Sorry.
But at least there was an attempt to use it.
Yes, at least someone tried to use the glorious harpoon. Anyways, we shall be moving on to match 3.
As the other red team will now be the actual red team, making this much easier on us spectating here.
Well, it isn't going to be easy either way, but the next map is one that I love. Parrots and Rumble.
Ah, yes.
The one where terrains aplenty and ramming as well. Plenty of opportunities to ruin your enemy's day and your own.
And as these teams seem to favor playing aggressively, I think this will be a good map pick for either team here.
Well, one team has already voted for Parroton. A excellent choice. Red team is just not deciding to vote on a map. I don't know if they want this one or the or some other map.
Well, then we talk about communication being the key to victory. That doesn't just apply in-game, but to the lobby as well. Setting up the ships, setting up the strategy. A lot of games can be won before even launching into the loading screen.
Indeed, but there is a tiny bit of RNG with the whole coin flip thing. But those are the rules.
And perhaps they were communicating too much as they did not elect to choose a map.
Well, who knows? Maybe they just wanted this map, but didn't decide to vote on. Instead, decide to focus more on more pressing concerns, such as coordination, strategy, and improvement, and such.
Yes, as we're moving on to choosing the best ships for this tiny little itty bitty ram map.
It isn't really that tiny. Duel at Dawn is a lot smaller.
Ooh. As we have a change from Alpha Sierras to Aspire running
An attempt
heavy
to
detonator.
change.
An attempt to change.
An attempt to change. Emphasis on what he has typed out in the chat.
A ching-a-lang-a ding-dong. Yes. Good song. All Gatlings and a detonator. That's my kind of Spire. I'm excited to see this thing fly.
That thing looks a bit too violent in my opinion. 3 Gatlings is overkill.
Wanted blood, Zed. You're gonna get blood.
Not in the... 3 Gatlings is way too much in the way that that detonator is now their only hope at actually dealing any good damage. That and well rams, but...
Now, this
you don't
might be
need
playing
2 Gatlings. You can hook up a mine or something like that.
They could be running a specialized team strategy, perhaps running a support build, just trying to strip the armor quickly for the booger to ram in and finish
You
off the ship.
typically don't see that much.
I don't know,
That
Zen. This
one
could be
ship.
the start of a beautiful team
The only time I've seen
coordination.
more than 2 Gatlings was a crazy little junker that had 5 Gatlings.
Well, maybe they heard you because I'm seeing some guns being switched over. We've got an Artemis on the top deck here instead of a...
Yeah, that's a
Triple
bit
Gat.
better.
Well, I could dream. At any rate, we also have a change on the other side here.
Do we?
As the Hellfire Cars comes into play, running a mixed bag junker.
Well, at any rate, both teams have a minute before we start, and, well, less than 30 seconds to decide upon whether or not their ships match up against the enemy.
Yes, and this time we're not seeing the Pyramidian Ditto, as one is blue team's electing to bring an Artemis Gat, where the booger's running your old classic mortar Gat. Side guns on those also looking a bit different. With blue
It's
running
funny
the,
to note that
black there.
every match has had 2 Pyramidians thus far.
It's the iconic poster child for the game. Been relevant through every single patch all the way. for this
Well,
long
normally it's
lifespan.
also the first ship a pilot gets his hands on. So, indeed. And now we are getting into match 3. After this match, everyone, there will be a 5-minute break. So you can get your refills and such.
Pop some popcorn, grab those Swedish fish, and strap in for the ride.
I once again brought crackers with me. And so we are in. It is time for the timer to come out.
And red team is all yours, my friend.
Alright, so ship number 1 is the Soaring Booger, the legend, the one and only, piloted by Tears Our Fuel. It is the Gatling Mortar Metamidian with a side carronade and flare. Ship number 2 is the Screamatone. I did not see that name tag for a bit. Piloted by Alpha Sierra. It is that crazy detonator spire with a front detonator, top deck Gatling, and Artemis, and bottom deck Gatling.
And as we're seeing the first blows starting to go with Scream on red or blue team, we have Saldera running by Saladrin, electing to bring on his Pura a flak or a Artemis instead of a mortar. He's also got a flak and a flare on blue 4, sitting back and putting down some damage on Scream. We've got cars being ran by Hellfire, running a mixed bag of weaponry. He's got a Banshee, an Artemis, another Artemis, a Hades, and a Phobos Mind Launcher, which they're about to lay down on top of this Scream at Own, who is a little out by himself here. His ally, Soaring Booger, is trying to soar to the rescue, but he might be too late.
Well, that was an attempted flank. Emphasis on attempted, but here comes the ram. And armor break. No
Actually,
damage, though.
Yeah,
Oh, but that
put that
detonator.
Oh, there's a burst. A little bit of damage out there.
Good
and
shot
now
on that
getting a
detonator. And here comes another ram, but the Screamatone is not in a good position as well, but the Saldera is also not looking good.
Scream, that detonator putting everything on fire for cars.
And
but it might not be
Screamatone,
enough.
goodbye. First kill for blue.
Now, if Booger can pick up this kill,
It most likely will.
With this ram, we have a 1-for-1, and they're too far away.
But the
to
cars is
engage.
still not in a good state. The Booger came out of that fight with a bit better composure than the Junker we are seeing, as it has a lot of fires. In fact, its
Scream at
balloon
Owen.
just burned to the ground. What happened?
Detonator put everything on that ship on fire. They're suffering for it, and Booger realizes this. They're now closing in.
They're
Not even
capitalizing
waiting
on
for
it.
their ally.
The
Yes,
cars
putting
is
them in the
screwed.
ground. Balloon is down. They're stuck, pinned against the wall.
Tar,
And
you've
Scream
got
it.
to be kidding me.
Scream is now here as well.
The
That is
Soaring
gonna be it
Booger is
for
stuck a
cars.
bit. And the Tar did nothing, thank God. And, oh no. Here comes the conveyor belt. Viewers,
Yep.
if you
Saldera realizes this and is now boosting
don't
out
charge
there.
in saving your ally without them telling you to come in and save them. Simply put,
Same as
your ally will die and they will come for you next if you don't make it in time and actually save them. Which is quite common.
Detonator's not quite in range there,
Yet.
as they're actually.
The Soaring
putting
Booger
some,
charges. And
Yes, the
it
cars
is
is
going
now
to miss.
Oh, putting some nice heat on the Booger as both of his front guns go down. Doing some
The
nice
objective
hull
is to
damage here.
disable.
Booger might be in the
All
grinder
fire is
here.
still on the Saldera.
Yes, those detonators. A nasty strategy I haven't seen before, but I'm liking it.
You typically see detonators on Shrike or something like that.
And there it is again. Everything on
Caldera
cars is now
eats
on
a
fire.
lot of Artemis, no, mortar fire, and the Soaring Booger wins, defeating its
And
arch
this will
rival,
be a
as the
short-
Screamatone has a handle on the situation against cars, for now. Yeah, once
Well, with
again,
everything on fire. Yep.
Red's overly aggressive strategy is working out for them. They are,
This will
well,
be hard to pull back.
Red is pulling off its aggression strategy quite well.
Now they are sitting firmly in the blue spawn, if I'm not mistaken.
I shall confirm that, utilizing the glorious tool that I have available. And provided I can find Paraton. That is the blue spawn. You are not mistaken.
So this could be an interesting flanking opportunity if the coordinate
Knowing blue
their
team, they
spawn
would not
time.
spawn at the spawn area where red is hiding at. They would spawn at one of the edge spawns. And beyond that, you can... Oh, what?
Oh, they're popping right in behind him. This could be a nasty flank.
I'm actually surprised.
This would be a-
The
looks like they're
Screamatone has
popping
not
pro.
realized what is going on behind it, only now turning around.
As
And
the hull's broken, this might be too late. Ooh, but a nasty little burst from that
and
doesn't bring
the
any
soaring
weapons
booger
down,
bumps terrain. Yeah, this ambush was completely unexpected. But Saldera is
Although,
still losing.
the hull's going down at Scream. Saldera's hull is also down. This could be a
Soaring
quick
Booger
end to
also
the match.
lost
They're able to get
armor,
back
but
on just in time, but it might not matter as they're quickly ramming it down again.
the
Scream
Soaring
taking
Booger
hull damage. Saldera
charges,
hull down.
and the Soaring Boogers.
That's it.
That was close. Did the Soaring Booger die at the end there? I'm interested to see what the score says.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
See if they
extremely
at least managed
close.
to squeak out a
The Soaring
last minute-
Booger did
No!
not die. It held
It
on
dropped
by a
first.
thread. By a single thread. It has also ended the curse of the 5-2 red winning. Now it's a 5-1.
Yes. I did appreciate that the blue team did try that desperate spawn, though, straight behind. I feel they didn't focus appropriately, though, as they both opted to 1-1 a ship instead of focusing down.
To be honest, that Junker is the odd man in this situation, as it didn't do much. But
Not
anyways,
a whole lot.
we shall get on with the 5-minute break.
Very good. We shall return.
And so the break is over. We return now with your regularly scheduled programming to bring you match 4 of the Crucible.
Yes,
And
there will
we
be more blood.
indeed, as
Spoil
we
and
begin
grease.
map vote. It is currently fight over Fernfeld.
Fernfield, I've heard rumors of Skywell sightings around.
That may actually be true.
No, I personally still haven't seen any. Do keep an eye out, though.
I will certainly.
Yes, and we have Bonk the Quonk, as we can't get enough of these duck uh, references here.
Well, yeah. That cannot be avoided, sadly. Red is opting for a Canyons match. I think Blue won't oppose that. Well, now they can't. As we are going to switch over to Canyons. The map everyone cannot get enough of.
Yes, especially for how these teams like to play. This is yet another excellent choice.
Well, it all depends on the situations and the ships that each team decides to use. Blue is going for double spire. Intriguing. Spires are typically known as the glass cannons of the Guns of Icarus community, being quite easy to focus down.
And we saw Koek running that incendiary in the detonator last match, which just messed up that junker, putting everything on fire long enough that they couldn't recover in time.
Well,
we can
it's
make good use of
the
that again.
point of incendiary in the detonator. Sets everything on fire and sets the engineers into a panicked blaze.
Yeah, so to counteract that, we have the Spat in My Soul looking like they're aiming to use that Minotaur. It'll be fun to see if these two spires can coordinate together and just absolutely make
Red
a
is
nightmare
going
situation.
for a Judgment. And a Stormbreaker.
Now, I still haven't seen. We've seen the potential that Saldafa has the threat it can be when left to its own devices. It has not gotten a chance to shine this series yet, though.
Well, this event, yes. It has been successfully locked down by the other red team.
Which is now the blue team.
But that's kind of really the point. You don't just leave dangerous ships flying about. That is a recipe for disaster.
Has realized this and has effectively been able to shut it down.
The question is, will blue team be able to repeat this in this match?
Especially with Hellfire looking to put in some spicy flanks with the Yin here again. I think Tears is going to be probably looking to use that Minotaur to keep that Stormbreaker off its ally and itself.
Well, indeed, that Minotaur is a brutal contraption against Stormbreakers. They're light, they're quite long, and once you turn them, the pilot instantly has to comprehend what's going on, and that can be quite difficult and ruin any potential tactics.
It'll be extra difficult while everything is on fire.
Fair point. Stormbreakers are not... Whoa, 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 whoa. I saw that.
I had magnate before the change, way before the change.
Intriguing.
I don't see
Well,
any change claim.
Indeed.
Yeah, there's no Saladrim trying to
Yeah, I forgot about the change.
Saladrim claiming he changed early. I don't know about you, Zan, but he appeared to have changed after these ships were locked.
Well, either way, this warrants a little bit of a timer extension.
And blue is fine with the change as well. As chaos reigns, and it's not even our Chaos Saturday event.
Go back. There are rules. That was a specific rule that I borrowed from SCS. Either way, it's a minute until match start. And also, there is actually a rule about ship changes.
Well, you know, these Icarus players, they can be a rowdy, lawless bunch sometimes.
And just to remind the teams, you can ready up before the timer runs out. I'm not going to be angry at that. And of course, now that I've announced that something's in the rules, everyone comes looking at it. I already see 2 people already looking at the rules. The easiest way to locate the particular section I'm referring to is to just simply hit Control F and type in change. So I did it anyways. And now we shall get into match 4 of 5.
What I would like to see, just because I'm a sucker for those close matches, is another comeback. If our other team can make another adapt here, if they can adapt and bring us to a close game 5.
And so, it is match 4 of 5. We shall begin the match timer and get into this ripe madness.
Yes, and running Saldasa, the red Saladrim ship, running a... It's changing last minute to Aspire, running a flat cannon, rocket launcher, Gatling, and a heavy mortar for that damage. Who's going to be looking to coordinate with Yin, Hellfire Stormbreaker, who will be flanking with a twin heavy carronade on that right side, and then the 3 light guns of Gatling gun and 2 rocket carousels.
So, ship number 3 is Spats in My Soul. It is Tears Fuel Spire, armed with the Minotaur, Artemis, and 2 Banshees. And ship number 4 is the Screamatone, piloted by Alpha Zero. It's also a Minotaur Spire with an Artemis and double. Their ships have the exactly same loadouts.
First blood already.
Wait, what? A harsh world killed Yin. I skipped that completely. And red didn't get kill. Blue didn't get kill credit for that.
I feel they might have.
I think they rammed the terrain. That is my only explanation. Hellfire does that sometimes. Let's just keep calm and stare at the situation currently at hand, which... Oh, also, I forgot to turn my little picture thingy. Apologies, but you missed a couple of seconds of action. Not too horrible.
At any rate, this Minotaur coupled... Oh, we have 2 Minotaurs. Spat had switched off the detonator. We have just some mean bruisers now looking...
Yin comes in, pops, and runs. Finally, as we turned after the Great Collapse. Luckily, nobody saw that.
Oh, and the Minotaur's just messing up that hole.
The Yin actually avoids hull damage. Completely. Those peaks are working somewhat, but the Saldasa is like a bystander. Just watching the action instead of participating in the glorious combat.
As Yin is trying so hard to bait Blue to come around the corner here into Saldasa's fire. And it looks like they're going to take the engagement.
And yeah, here they come.
Around by himself.
Yeah, red currently is in a bit of a pickle, as blue could just simply do that. And
However,
red can't potently resist. And
well,
yeah,
it's not going to be enough.
Saldasa is doomed. It is doomed.
Scream.
And the Yin is as well.
They were able to bring the hole back on last minute, although Saldasa's gun's down, his balloon on fire, hole about to drop.
Saldasa is gone.
And Yin not looking too hot either, as both teams now, both of the Spires, with their balloon gone but bringing the parachute, he's going to be able to finish it off before even needing to do repairs, it looks like, as Yin is now electing to run away straight into a pillar, however.
That's why most decide to bring the parachute, so that they can keep shooting their guns a bit more. The Yin, however, in my opinion, does not have a long lifespan.
Not with those Minotaurs making maneuvering nearly impossible, as we've got 2 angles on him now. He is able to make it just outside of the range of the Scream at Own and is now just facing down with the Spat, is able to maneuver around. What are we going to need to see from the red team here for them to be able to make a comeback here?
They can't win. Blue team just has... They basically have them outplayed at this point. That Lumber Spire was a completely odd choice. It is just... it can just simply get overwhelmed by that little charge, as we saw before, and the yin can't do much against the two blue spires. I don't see a lot of hope for red to come out of this. And the yin
Narrowly
is
avoiding
not in a good
ramp,
situation right now either way.
but not enough.
Saldasa has already respawned. I already see chat is attempting to complain about me leaving up the screen. Sorry. Completely forgot with that whole lobby business. Red is spawning split? Right, now, I don't see this going well as well. The yin now charging in and revealing its position. Saldasa is remaining hidden, waiting for spots. There's one, but in my experience, even if you have spots on an enemy, sniping through fog is not exactly a simple affair. Luckily, the spat in my soul has been popped. Saldasa is providing support fire. But the yin loses armor.
Well, I think my Discord just quit on me, but just in case you can hear me here, it looks like red team is going
Yes,
for
I can now hear you, and
picture
so can
movement
the
here, but
stream.
they're still having trouble selecting targets.
I think, well, Red's trying to consistently pop both of the enemy ships to keep them as low as possible. And I would say it is working out for them, as the Saldasa is currently not being targeted constantly and rushed down. So yeah,
the Inji is
blue team needs the
yin.
initiative in order to succeed, and at this point they don't really have said initiative.
Sage and Data being able to keep that Yin's hole alive as they keep coming in, taking damage, but are able to keep the trades going with the balloons. Not able to put any
The
meaningful
spat
damage
in
on
my
the
soul
holes.
has decided to switch strategy and aim for the Saldasa. And
Yin's
has
hole down
pierced
again.
the hole. Those
Yin is
Minotaurs.
consistently trading hole damage for balloon damage.
Yeah,
And I'm not
I
sure
still
that's gonna
see
work out in the
blue
long run for
winning at this point, however, as they've now managed to figure out what to do in suppressing Saldasa, as it cannot operate, and, well, the Yin can't reliably hose down the blue team alone.
And again, Saldasa changing targets. They are looking to, as you said, keep both balloons down, but those parachutes
They
are
save lives.
mitigating the damage.
They save lives for when you really want to stay up. Banshee's being spewed out by the Yin, and Spats in my soul has lost half its Burma.
It is almost permanently keeping one of the Injis for both of blue ships on that balloon, which is helping keep some of the damage off themselves.
Now it seems that the Screamatone is now targeting the Yin.
This seems to be a war of attrition, Zen. We're finally seeing some damage on Scream here, as they are keeping them both down. Scream's balloon back up. Spats taking some hull damage here as they're on fire. This could be it for them, actually, as the hull goes down. If we can see a burst damage before they get the hull back up, but it's too late. They are able to bring that hull back online just in time.
Well, both of the red ships don't really focus on dealing a lot of damage quickly. As you said, they're more towards attrition. But give or take a few seconds or a minute or two, and that Scream its own will most likely depart this universe. Yes. The Spat in my soul has decided for a strategic withdrawal and has successfully escaped. For now, at least, as the Yin is attempting its chase. That, however, it may be a mistake.
Ooh, some fancy backwards maneuvering there. Alpha Sierra making it not through one but two gaps narrowly
That is not Alpha
through the
Sierra.
canyon here.
That is Tears, with the spat in my soul.
Oh, not Screaming on Spat. Yes, yes. Tears making some very, as we've seen Tears being able to maneuver before, flexing his piloting ability here.
He has been baiting the red team into a position they most likely don't want to be at, as the Screamatone has returned. And this canyon opening is a prime position for blue, to hose down with the Minotaur.
Yeah, Scream might be going a little high here, risks getting spotted.
The spat in my soul is still staying in the open, quite risky.
And sure enough.
And now the Saldas is under threat from the Screamatone.
Now we're seeing Yin going in for a charge here. Do you think this is wise?
No. Spat in my soul is right there, and Yin has figured that out. They're now running.
And 2 Minotaurs is going to put that guy down quickly, although they are still keeping the Saldas at bay. It looks like opting to not deal with that mortar.
Now blue can use their initiative and actually charge, as Saldasa loses balloon and armor somehow. Did Yin ram them into the terrain or something? I don't see any other way they could have lost both balloon and hull at that distance. Especially with the weapons that both spires are carrying. But, yep, blue team now flexing their capabilities as they have vaporized the opposition. Yin has fled the scene.
I'm trying to watch the blue team, looking like they're both opting for heavy ammunition in the Minotaur, and then switching to grease when they're in close for that DPS. The heavy
Indeed.
seemed to put some good damage on from the distance there.
Yes, heavy is
Yeah,
most
but Yin
useful
is
at
down
long
left
range, but it is also well known to disable enemy guns, as the Minotaur does have a shatter damage as its secondary damage, and can really easily disable guns, engines, ruining the day of any poor engineer or gunner doing some work on the ships.
Scream spotted moving. We'll see if Spat will pop out here and get spotted as well, or if they might suspect an ambush.
Alpha, there's a scoreboard on screen.
Well, there was that early environmental kill that looked like the damage was put on by the blue team initially.
Not to mention the fact that you can ask your crew members for the information.
But for reference, red has 1 kill. Blue, currently, despite the environment kill, only has 3. Yin, able to shake the spot, is now turning. It looks like Blue's elected
Blue's
to hold down this little...
Staying passive, which is not exactly good. We saw how effectively they could charge down the Saldasa in the first engagement and just simply ruin the day of red.
Balloons out, and immediately the parachute goes up, starting to take full damage. Yin a little slow into the fray here, though. Actually, we're seeing some Gatling being put down. This is a lot of components on fire, as the pole is now 8 stacks about to go down. Let's see if they can get it up quickly enough, or if the Minotaur, or the mortar will quickly end this Spat's career.
Mortar? I don't remember the Yin having a mortar.
Lumberjack heavy mortar, that's what I meant to say. Lumberjack! Not a mortar, it's a lumberjack, excuse me, sorry.
Well, it
Yin
technically is a heavy mortar, so...
That's, yeah,
No
not
say.
the mortar I was thinking of, though. That's, yeah, my mistake. We're seeing a little scrappy engagement from Yin here.
Of note is that there are 7 minutes left, or to be more accurate, 6.5.
As this battle of attrition comes out again, Yin trading balloon for hole. We're seeing another balloon pop. Not gonna drop too
And
slow.
a couple Banshees go into the Saldasa.
These engineers working overtime, bringing these back online repeatedly on all these spires, Yin as well.
It's
We've
just
got
a
whole
strange
break on the
dance
screen.
in a way.
but not any meaningful damage. A lot of breaks, but not a lot of damage coming down on top of them.
Scream at home, now in a horrible
Saldasa.
situation.
Also, missing hull, able to bring it back on. Minimal damage.
You're
taken.
now
Again, hull
broken.
broken.
A lot
No
of ships are
meaningful
getting
damage.
broken.
Lots of components on fire. Saldasa also missing all of its guns. Most of its guns.
The lumber is still firing. Both
Red is
sides
also
are
maneuvered
just...
now. Are we gonna want to set Zed? Are we gonna want to see a charge from one of these teams as Blue is now forced into the middle
Red
of
is
the
going to charge most likely, as Blue is attempting to now focus fire instead of just trying to do whatever they did before.
Now we saw
But
this
the
earlier while
Screamatone
they
is
were
getting screwed. Still.
electing to keep the balloons down, and it looks like it's working as the hull is downstream. Oh, just barely able to get that balloon down, or they might have died to the environment there.
Well, they're still not in a good position. Their balloon is still down, the Saldasa is still there, and the Yin is also.
That is it for them. This could be a quick turnaround, bringing us to 3-3 unless
Spats in my
makes
soul is
magic
deciding for a
happen.
last effort ramming attempt for the Emperor
A
and such.
desperate charge as everything is on fire. We're seeing that incendiary coming online.
Well, valiant effort. They are actually doing some damage to the Saldasa. Yeah, their last desperate charge did have actually some repercussions to the red team.
And
But
excuse
the
me,
score is
actually,
tied.
no incendiary. I'm not sure where all those fires were coming from.
Greased Banshees. Greased
Nasty.
Banshees.
Nasty.
Not to mention, the carronade on the Yin might have incendiary at some point. That is a common ammunition choice. Also, 4 minutes left.
Crewmate. We've got lots of greased and a couple. Yeah, greased.
Oh,
Banshees.
dear.
Absolutely.
I may have neglected to announce the first kill, which was blue.
Well, Ghost took care of the first environment kill there. But yes, we are looking 3-3. Whoever can win this quick engagement, as we're now seeing some blue damage put on the South Asset. Both blue team members have been spotted. Yin, however, waiting in the shadows, waiting for a flank. Oh, just kidding. Also spotted. With 3 minutes remaining, we're going to want to see some quick action here to close out and get those extra points for winning the engagement.
Well, even ignoring the environment kill, blue team still got the first kill. But yes, the environment kill does not count. And Saldasa is now it's not looking good. And Yin
Flood
charges.
with the moonshine. Oh, and getting cut out. Those minotaurs quickly dodging from cover to cover.
Well,
Yeah,
of
red
note
card
is
is
that
the
both sides should seriously be focusing on winning right now, because, well, if they don't, no points. A reminder to everyone, you don't get a bonus point if you win by the timer. And you also don't get any points from kills.
Saldasa's hull broken, barely hanging on by a sliver. I think whoever drops one of these other teammates is going to be able to finish off the other well within 2 minutes. And it's not looking too great for Red, as most of their stuff is on fire. Their hull is low. Red is sitting pretty- yeah, they
Saldasa
got
broken
down.
and ripped.
God,
The Yin now has
this
to
is gonna
flee
be
if it wants to preserve its existence. But
If they
this
can
is a
get those
definitive win
Minotaurs
for
on
blue
it.
team.
Yes, those minnows not going to let him escape easily.
Blue will attempt to charge them down to the last and secure this point. Well, if they get this kill,
Despite
they get 2 points extra. If they
Indy's
don't,
working
well,
overtime on that hull, and it looks like they are able to run effectively to cover. However, with only a minute and 40 seconds left, then I do not see Red making any kind of meaningful
they won't
comeback here.
win. There is no way
would
they
have
can
to
win.
do some crazy blitz, I think. Would we be able to see them run?
I
well,
think
again,
the
they-
Yin will be screwed before anything
A
happens.
bit of a desperate attempt to flee here.
Their desperate attempt
And
failed, as blue team actually did manage to succeed.
Game over.
The other red team has won this Crucible. I do believe. Must check with the details that we have the group stage. Yes, the other red team has scored their third win of today. Thus, yes. Congratulations to the other red team. You have won.
It was nice to see that both teams adapting and playing around. I think we got to see some good matches here.
Indeed. That was interesting, to say the least. But now it is time for match 5. It is Oblivion South. The last duel to decide it all. Will the Fire Quacks win a couple of extra points? Or will just the other red team mop the floor again? We shall see.
Shall indeed.
Anyways, we shall initiate with the map voting procedure. Just as a reminder to everyone, next week I will be participating myself. So expect to see some crazy shenanigans. But that also may mean that there will be no stream. As currently there are very few streamers out there that are willing to stream Crewcible.
This is true, but even the fabulous Zen needs a break to get into the action every now and then.
Indeed. And we are in the last match. Hellfire complimenting the other team on their choice. I think Red Team may be a bit more lenient after this match. They'll attempt to fly some more experimental stuff.
Some of the most fun matches and meta-breaking defining moments happen in the...
Yes, as we can see already, there's a squid and a goldfish.
And we have a new face joining the stream just in time for our last final crazy match. Welcome, Nerd Hector.
Well, Frozen was already go-casting with me last time, and well, normally I don't put...
Well, it took a little bit of mechanical engineering to get to this spot, as Saturdays were already filled by work until this month. But here we are. It's good to be here with you, Zen.
Indeed.
Yelling as people throw themselves violently at each other as the grease and diesel splashes. And we're seeing some discussion about the rules of environmental kills.
Well, if the game didn't count it, then it didn't happen. But deep in our thoughts, we know that happened.
Well, we saw last Crucible, the environment was just eating people alive. Although that time there was no enemy fire, that was just interesting piloting decisions.
Indeed. Especially the last match with squids.
Yes, those devil squids were well worth the salute. With 1 minute left to ship lock, we're seeing, as you had just discussed, a squid coming out. We're seeing a little bit more experimental here as the gloves have come off now that there's no victory, no prestige, no all the beans on the line.
Well, there are still match points on the line, and, well, any 1 point can change the outcome of the leaderboard, which is why you typically want to put in that little extra effort to get as many points as you can, and by extension, win more.
All the beans are on the line here, folks. All the beans, all the Crucible branded beans.
All the alien beans as well.
Now, we saw this match 1, Zen, with the double Pyramidian just tearing through the blue team. Do you think we'll see a repeat of this?
There's a squid. Things will certainly be different. But...
Now, I've heard you discussing the squid as a counter to the Pyras. They can
yeah, but there's one issue. That 2 Pyramidians, that squid might not be enough. My prediction is that the red team will attempt to charge down the magnate with everything they can, slaughter the magnate before the blue squid can do any serious damage, then try to swat away the squid, and repeat ad nauseum.
Yes, and with the match timer coming on, if you'd like to introduce red here.
In but a moment. The timer is now on, and we may begin with the ship callouts. Ship number 1 is the legendary Saurian Booger, piloted by Tears Our Fuel. It is the Metamidian. Front mortar and Gatling. What was that?
Sorry, that's my notification that I failed to silence. Please continue.
Yes, a side carronade and side flare. Ship number 2 is the Dancing Together, piloted by Alpha Sierra. It is the same old Artling we've seen before. Front Artemis Gatling, side flak and flare.
And on the blue side, for our final Crucible match of this week, we have Saladrim running his Magnet for the first time here, running a heavy twin carronade Hwacha, 2 Gatlings, rocket launcher, and a flak. He's going to be putting in some major damage, assisted with Hellfire's Faye. The squid running a mortar with a Gatling rocket launcher. But will it be enough against these nasty, nasty, aggressive red team Pyramidians? We'll see as they draw closer to each other here.
None of the ships are staying in formation. They're all splitting up, and I was almost thinking Faye was going to attempt to go over the wall. Now instead they're going for the safe route and destroying the wall. For those of you that don't know, if you attempt to go above the wall, there is a slight chance to suffer the fate that Richard has planned for those that attempt to go through the wall without breaking it first.
As they are quickly being approached by the red team here, perhaps not realizing the flank that awaits them.
Well, red team will see that a wall is broken. They won't know which wall because this map has multiple walls.
As the Magnet has now actually been spotted. Oh, and they found a dancing coming through the clouds here. as Dancing is now taking some balloon damage from that
Red,
range fire.
Red is certainly waiting for the opportune moment to charge in, and I think they have seen it. They are now going
They have
all
seen it as
ahead. The
Fae.
Fae now wants to save its ally's life. They might not make it in time, though, as Red is
What
now
would have been a clever
aggressively pushing
flank,
in.
but unfortunately, Red had the same idea, and yes, as predicted, they have charged down the Magnet. He is not long for this world. That armor's nothing to scoff at, but 2 Pyramidians running kill guns.
Yeah,
is
as
going to be
predicted,
quick.
they would just simply run down the Magnate without any care in the world, especially since the squid now gets booped. What a boop. And flax!
Late to the
Lovely!
rescue there,
Good
as
job from the
Hellfire
Dancing Together's crew. That was some
goes
really
down
good
in
sniper
blaze of
work.
fire.
Yes, it went worse than I expected.
That was possibly a worst case scenario. Once Blue respawns here, we want to see them trying to maneuver together and not leaving their allies completely in the open.
Red, in the meantime, is charging. Or, rather, advancing.
And sometimes it's just luck. Sometimes you make a maneuver and not expect it. However, I feel they should have anticipated with 2 Pyramidians against their Magnate that they would have charged.
They should have really anticipated that, as, to be honest, that's what happened a few matches ago. In case we
Yes,
haven't
they
forgotten,
played-
the first match had a
Yes.
crazy double Pyramidian charge, and it did wind up working for the other red team, which is currently the red team.
The Fae looking like they're trying to bait the red team into the Saldana. Well, maybe not even a bait, actually. They're just charging in, leaving...
I think they want to
Fates-
get to red before red gets to the Saldama, which is about now.
You discussed about the squid's quick maneuvering speed. Well, here he comes on the Dancing, but we also saw that there's 2 Pyramidians. He's not going to be able to keep the Dancing down, as we're now seeing a 1 square off on either side here.
The Soaring Booger deciding to tackle the Fae. Well, it's only a matter of time until the Fae outmaneuvers the Soaring Booger.
And Saldama being able to hold its own so far, although that is a hull break. We're going to see some major damage here.
Oh, wow! The Soaring Booger cleans up the Fae.
As
That
Dancing
was
did
some-
not get hull damage down, but did disable all the guns. And
Well, the Soaring Booger comes to the rescue. Or to assist and steal all the glory. More likely the latter.
Well, let's see if they can get there in time for a ram kill or push him off.
No ram kills, just mortars.
Yep. That's the power of 2 Pyrs, ladies and gentlemen. With
Yeah.
4 kills for red and 0 for blue, this is not looking pretty.
The core idea to counter 2 Pyramidians is attempt to outgun them. There are ships that can bring a lot more firepower to the table, like Spires and Judgments, that can consistently output more damage than a Pyramidian can, in which case you can overpower the enemy Pyramidians before they can do much, and thus have better chances of victory.
Now, on paper, the Magnet does have some pretty beefy guns, and with the Squid's maneuvering capabilities, I think they had the right idea in mind here, but unfortunately just not able to quite capitalize off having 2 Pyramidians to deal with instead of just 1.
Well, indeed. As we've already seen, Red can just quickly hose down a ship. Though I have to say, even when they are not fighting together against one ship, they're still doing really massive work.
Yes, and spots have been called
A
out
bit
here as
lucky.
Dancing's putting on the Moonshine, coming in for a quick ram. It looks like they're looking to end this.
A
swiftly,
crazy
as the Fae might not be
charge.
able to do enough damage.
That
The hull is
won't
down
work,
on
though.
Dancing.
I think
Running
the
into the
dancing
flame
together
there, it
is
is going
going
down.
to die in but a
His
moment.
balloon is on fire. Hold down. This is going to be a quick end to there. Let's.
That was too
Clean up on the
aggressive,
booger
but the
now.
Saldama is now charging and oh, it missed.
Ooh,
Alpha Zero has
barely missing a
admitted
ram there.
that that was a complete and utter mistake.
Yes, his booger's running to the hills here. The Fae, moonshining backwards, going to try to clean up in a here.
Well, it's not going to be too easy. As we've seen, the Booger are trying to outmaneuver the Fae. Well, you can't really outmaneuver a squid much, but you can certainly keep the squid pilots annoyed.
As Booger is running towards Dancing Spawn here with the magnet.
But loses
Trailing
engines.
behind.
Artemis Fire disables the engines. But they did manage to just pass over... Oh, that's a rock.
Soren is taking damage, but those engineers putting in work as Dancing is now waiting for the flank here, as the Fae might overstep a little bit straight into Dancing's cannon fire.
But the Soaring Booger is not doing well either. It's booping the
their hull
terrain,
broken.
and it's almost
No meaningful
gone.
damage put down. Saldama just a second too late to lay down that fire. Is still taking some massive damage.
Here's
so
the issue
Dancing,
for Red. They can't work together if one of their ships is almost gone and fleeing the
Dancing might
battlefield.
have been a little too late to pull the trigger there, although it looks like Booger is getting out in one piece.
The attempt is
Blue
just
doesn't wanna
simply to
fully
cover
commit.
the Booger, as they're just now not charging in. Thank God.
With Red only 1 kill away and Blue only securing 1, I think Red is in a position to make some more aggressive plays here and see if they can just burst down, especially with
Well,
the Saldama
now
being
they
so
are both
low.
in position, and yes, although they may not feel confident enough to push into the Saldama, they might want to prevent that last death. But we shall see.
Yes, both teams playing a bit of a long-range poking situation here.
And here comes the red team.
Oh,
Here
they're
comes
putting
the
on
charge.
Double Gatlings. This is going to be it for the Saldana if you can't get those engines with the armor.
And that's
and that
going to
one
be...
hit, barely saving it. Here comes
But
the
that's a
Ram.
ram, and that's a
it
goodbye.
for red team.
Indeed, double Pyramidians. It works quite well. The other red team has won yet another match. They've won 4 of 5 matches, so good work.
But not without the Ducks taking 1 off in our game 2 there. We did see some nice counterplay. Fortunately,
Firequacks.
not able to readapt in that last game, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty
they
happy
did
with what
put
our
up
showing here, Zed.
a formidable resistance, but sadly not enough to secure their victories. What's
And
this about
with
walls?
handshakes and salutes all around, our teams have left happy after another Crucible Season 11.
Week 7. As a reminder, next week is the last week of this season. It's the last time you can attempt to make up the points needed to win.
Yes, and with Zen piloting, or at least crewing in the next
Piloting,
weeks,
most
we'll have a
likely.
chance to put a few shots in on him and, get back at him for us butchering your team names this whole...
And ship names, if
Yes.
you deem so. Anyways, this has been the Crucible. Thank you all for coming, playing, and watching. And take care. I will see you all next week. But we'll see if there's going to be a stream or not. It all depends on if there are any volunteers to stream. And take care, everyone. This has been the Crucible.